So the next part of my exam will actually start off with just active range of motion. The reason I want to do this is for many reasons. One, I want to get the patient comfortable with movement. And two, I just want to have a general idea of kind of what is going on. Does she have any fear avoidance, etc. But most importantly, I'm looking for the coordinate sign, that pain that kind of brought her through the door. And for the rigorness, this is usually just a general less aggressiveness, so that way we can kind of get a good idea of what's going on. So what I would start off doing is, do you mind touching your chin down to your chest for me? Perfect. Just looking for the general motion again. Go ahead and relax for me. Now try that again. So what I might do is just kind of feel through. If that is painless, go ahead and bring it down and keep it down for me. What I would do is then perform what's called overpressure if it's symptom free. So I'd come over and just do a gentle pressure like that. Now, if I wanted to differentiate between upper, mid, and lower, even at this point in time, what I can do is go ahead and touch your chin down to your chest for me. It's go and then go off into the top, go off into the mid, and then come down onto the very bottom, just like that. Go ahead and just turn the chair for me just real quick. Go ahead and have a seat again. So that way you can kind of see what's going on. Touch your chin. It's just going to the upper, going to the mid, and go into the lower. Now that is just a general test. We'll go into specific ones in just a second. Alright, so now for clarity, what I'm going to do is the regular active range of motion. So what I want you to do is go ahead and look up towards the ceiling for me. Again, if this is pain-free, what I want to do is come and go over pressure. Now this one I want to be probably a little bit more gentle. Go ahead and relax. Simply because this is going to be a pretty painful position for most people. So, if both of those are clear, then I want to go into a couple of different motions. Go ahead and look as far as you can to your right for me. Right, perfect. You get there, you want to come over pressure right here. Main thing you want to do is make sure you're right there for the patient. You always want to rotate towards yourself. Go ahead and look to the left for me again. Assess that, come and do over pressure. Perfect. Now what I want you to do is touch your right ear to your right shoulder. Perfect. Come and then over pressure onto that. And now try your left ear to your left shoulder. Perfect. Come and over pressure there. If all that is negative, next you want to actually go into combined motions, just to rule out the cervical spine as well. One that will can frequently be positive in patients is the combined into the quadrants. So what I would do is look to your right as far as you can, and then look up and over your shoulder as far back, like you're looking in the back corner of the room. So come up and look up towards the ceiling just like that. Now this one you can do a little bit of overpressure, but you want to caution with that because that's the most compromised position. If the right clears up, go ahead and look to your left for me and go ahead and look up. And then come and overpressure just a little bit that and go ahead and relax. So all of those. Now, say some of those were positive, but we weren't really sure what's going on. We might want to try to tease out between the upper cervical spine and the lower cervical spine. So beginning off with the upper, what I would do is try to poke your chin forward as far as you can for me. Perfect. That puts her into upper cervical extension. Then I can come over pressure a little bit there, or I can even get specific. Since she's already closed down, I can laterally flex to the left, laterally flex to right, all looking for comparable signs and or restrictions. Next one I can is try to give yourself a double chin for me. Good, go ahead and relax. And what I want you to do is poke back just like that. So that now puts her into upper cervical flexion. So then I can go down to the left, go down to the right, trying to tease that out. Now say that we want to go into the lower cervical spine. There's a couple of ways we can do that. The first one we can do is clear out upper cervical extension, which is actually kind of the same thing. So I want you to create that double chin again and then move your body back as far as you can without moving here. So now I want to give that little over pressure where she should be mainly feeling it there. And you might want to ask because she should feel something at that part. That can help out rule out the lower cervical extension because now you've officially taken upper cervical out of it by putting it into a little bit of flexion. Another thing we'll do is look into thoracic spine and look at the general mobility of this. So what I want you to do is just try to come and put your hands across your chest for me. And I want you just to kind of slowly come down forward as far as you can. There you go. Now this one, what I might do is just kind of help her along so that she gets the general motion. And by that time too, if you see where my hands are, they're actually palpating the spinous process. So then I can slowly get it. If I want to be a little bit more of taking the neck out, let's go ahead and reach behind your neck like you're just supporting it just like this. If I've kind of ruled out the neck, I can come in here, all right, just bend forward for me and just kind of guide her. And I also can do a little bit of passively as well. Same thing is go towards the ceiling for me. So the neck's taken out, and this is all thoracic spine. So go ahead and hug yourself for me, and now I want you to turn yourself to the right. Perfect. Now with this active motion that she's doing, as you notice, the neck goes first. So if I want to kind of take out the cervical spine, what I can say to do is keep your neck kind of in line with your body and turn to the right for me. Perfect. Now turn to the left. Perfect. And just in that general motion, what you see is she actually has reduced mobility to the right. Something else I can do as well is overpressure. So if the mobility restricted, so go ahead and turn to the right for me. So she's restricted this way, I can come here, provide some overpressure. She gets a lot more motion going that way. If it produced a comparable sign, that might point us to something, or it can show a little bit of control issue since now she shows that she does have the mobility. The last test we'll do is the CRLFS test. And what I want you to do is go ahead and look to your left for me as far as you can. Perfect. And then I want you just to let your head dive on down. Perfect. So I'm looking for mobility here. All right, look to your right for me and let your head dive on down. So as you see, there's much more mobility when she's going to the right versus the left, which shows me some upper rib restrictions on the right, indicative of the rib probably already shifted up slightly, knocking into that C7 transverse process. In my rules of vigor, going to cervical spine to thoracic, but depending on the patient and how aggravated it could be, I might actually want to even go thoracic first and then to cervical if I think that the irritability is high on the patient.